It's been 1 year since my last trip to the Enchanted Rockies, which has given myself plenty of time to plan out a trip that would top the last one. With the fall color change in mind, timing this was crucial, and this time, I think I got it right. I never imagined myself contemplating loving a state more than Arizona, but after this adventure, New Mexico is beginning to hold a greater place in my heart, and that's not to be said that Colorado isn't special too. The diversity of the state is a perfect combination of a little bit of each four corner states, and on this journey, I'm going to show you just how diverse the land of enchantment really is. Join me on the most extensive route I've planned yet, 360 miles of the Colorado-New Mexico backcountry route, part 1. As always, my name is Cody, and you're watching another episode of the White Dog Overland Experience. Morning YouTube, and welcome to the southern San Juan Mountains. Camped out last night off of Devil Mountain Road. The actual Devil Mountain's just maybe 5 miles up this road. We got in really late, didn't get up here till maybe midnight, so we decided just to call it quits pretty early and find a camp spot as soon as we could. We're planning right now somewhere between Pagosa Springs and Durango, so what we're gonna do this morning, we got everything packed up. We're gonna hop on the road pretty quick and get over to Pagosa Springs, try a coffee house down there, and then we're gonna get up into the mountains. We've got a ton of exploring to do in these mountains up here in Colorado. Tomorrow we'll be working down into New Mexico, but this is easily one of the most extensive and anticipated routes I've planned in a long time, so I'm pretty excited for it, so stay tuned. For the first time in a very long time, I remember what it feels like to be cold. It's kind of crazy right now. Arizona, well, Tucson, where we came up from yesterday, still like 103 degrees, and it's pushing middle October right now. Last night we got in, it was down low 40s, so I think it probably dropped to easily into the 30s last night, so it's just pretty crazy. We're at 8,000 feet right now. Tonight we're going up to 12, so it's going to be even more cold, and my body kind of forgot how to respond to that, but it should be a good time. I have Alejandro, this tundra here behind me. He's a new face of the channel. He's a longtime friend of mine. I've been waiting many years to get him out, so this is kind of his first big trip, so he's gonna be blown away by this trip like I hope you guys are. So we're gonna go get some coffee and get in town, maybe get a bite to eat like I usually do. I gotta show him the customs of how I overland, and that's stopping at every diner possible and not cooking. So we'll see you in Pagosa.
Tell you what, buddy, I've never felt this ready for a triple shot of espresso in my life. I've been recommended this Root House coffee shop by several people, so I'm itching to give it a try. Is that one of those bridges for like wildlife?
All right, whoever recommended me Root House coffee, that was a wonderful suggestion. That place was excellent. I got a triple shot of espresso. Holy crap, those were good beans. That was some of the best espresso I've ever had. So now we're done with the town. We will finally be beginning this route. We're hopping up on a little road up here shortly, coming up through the pass, almost to Wolf Creek Pass. We're gonna start working down south towards New Mexico throughout the mountains. We gotta stop and get fuel first, but soon enough we'll be up around 12,000 feet. We began the ascent from 8,000 feet to 12,000 feet by climbing a well-maintained service road, but soon enough we would find out our smooth travels would be changed.
We're looking at about 8 miles of graded section, and the final stretch of 9 miles should be a bit more challenging, so I hope you're up for it. Man, I think I should be ready, so let's get it. Not gonna lie, this is pretty impressive. Your first real trail is cutting up through a 12,000 foot Colorado mountain pass. Oh man, 12,000 feet? Well, that's a great way to take my first trail on. I'm hoping these clouds don't build up and hit us with rain. I know these Colorado storms can get pretty hairy, especially if we get into a nasty section of road.
Elwood Pass was used by the Ute tribe for hundreds of years prior to Western expansion as a means for trade, hunting, and commuting from summer to winter tribal camps. This would all change when the gold rush of the 1850s brought the expansion into the southern San Juans. Boom towns were popping up all over the valleys, and Americans needed a means to traverse between these settlements, which meant roads needed to be built to accommodate loaded down carriages. Imagine moving out west from the flatland prairies and arriving at the foothills of a towering mountain range sitting 8,000 to 12,000 feet higher than the ground level. Then, devising a plan to cut a road through bedrock, hauling your family and home up through a pass where Mother Nature is unpredictable and natives sought to stop your western movements. Yet, here we are 150 years later, casually climbing it for the thrill. This is why I touch on history so often, to be able to look back and appreciate the struggles for what this country was built on. Living this modern life comes nowhere close to what the settlers had to deal with, but being able to come out into these areas gives us a look into the perspective of the people who tamed the West.
Are dropping pretty serious right now. I'm seeing 38 on my dash. It's probably like 105 back home. Starting to get a little sleet on my windshield. If these rocks get wet, it's going to get pretty interesting.
Looks pretty good. I mean, it's starting to snow. We got snow coming down on us. It's more like sleet, I guess. I'm getting soaked. This trail is it's kind of hard to see, I guess, but getting a little rocky. It's getting more washed out. We've been following these dirt bike guys for some time, and I would hate to be them right now, but I don't know, dude. What do you think of this?
It's kind of gnarly.
It's a little rough, but we'll make it through. Let's get past these guys right now.
Oh.
This wet ground is not fun. Yep. Bump it. There you go. Come my way just a little bit. I think we can finally stop and pull this out of 4 low because the road looks pretty good from here on out.
Keep going a little bit. Keep it straight.
Easy? Yep. Oh yeah. We had finally topped out on the pass and were pushing towards the ghost town of Summitville. In 1870, a prospector by the name of Whiteman discovered gold at the base of South Mountain. The population would soon explode to 600. The town included a school, post office, and numerous saloons. Once the gold ore would finally dissipate, the town would become fully abandoned by 1912. In 1934, the mines would resume operation up until 1991, but the operation began using cyanide to extract the gold ore. This would lead to water contaminations and a massive lawsuit against the Summitville Consolidated Mining Company, and a cease and desist order would be issued against them. The EPA would take over the site in 1992 and spend $155 million in decontamination efforts to restore the area. Although I don't particularly care for alphabet agencies, I do respect their efforts to control human contaminations in these areas which have lasting effects on natural environments.
Well, since this trail up to Blowout Pass is 50-inch restriction, I have a few camp spots in mind if we backtrack a little bit. We have 2 hours till dark, so I think it's best if we don't waste time and find something soon.
Clouds right before it hits the. Trip.
Well, we have got a pretty good snowstorm pulling in right now. This is pretty crazy. Us boys from the desert are not made for this, so we might just hunker down for a little bit because I can't feel my hands. I didn't get anything set up. I didn't get any wood cut, so a little behind schedule. But we had some others join us, which was nice. I was able to get service. That's kind of why I haven't got anything ready. I had to go up the road, find service, and send a message out to them. But of course, unexpected snowstorms, which is totally fine with me, because it's a pretty nice change from what we're used to down in the desert. So both of us are not upset by any means. How far of a drive was it?
Well, without stops, we did about 5 hours, 5.5.
That's not bad.
No,
Not bad at all.
What you had?
Yeah, we were about 10 and a half. It's like all you need is a place to sleep, maybe some decent suspension and some tires.
Nothing fancy here.
That's all right. I had a sandwich for dinner.
Different events through the day. That's one thing I noticed.
Yeah, I just try to make people feel like they're here.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. Do you want to point
Yeah, I really feel like I'm here this time. You're doing a really good job.
You're fully immersed this time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look
You
really.
even froze my ass off last night.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look.
I guess I did not properly introduce Dave and his wife Justine. They rolled in pretty late last night, right before that snowstorm. They brought the snow with us, but kind of wanted to walk through his Raptor. So I haven't had a Ford out yet, nor a Raptor. Actually, I haven't been able to see one of these up close, but this thing is pretty nice. And Johnny, I know you want one of these, so I'm kind of for it now if you decide to get one. But at this point, we are getting camp packed up. It's about 8:30. We have to head down out of this mountain range. We're going to cross the border into New Mexico, run down into the city of Chama, or town, I guess. Get some fuel, because from this point on, once we hit the Brazos Ridge, push south towards Chama Canyon, there's not going to be any fuel. So we need to top off. We have about 200 miles worth of dirt between these two fuel stops, and by the end of today we will be in New Mexico. We have one pit stop in Osir to check out the old train there, and then hopefully we get in, make camp a little earlier today.
According to Onyx, this is Platoro Reservoir on the right. I bet there is some damn nice trout in that lake. That massive mountain above the tree line we're seeing is apparently called Cornwall Mountain. The coloration on that is just blowing my mind. It looks like we have about 26 miles until asphalt, maybe 4 on pavement until we reach Chama. And I was doing a little looking. I believe there's a small diner on the outskirts of town, and I could definitely go for a cheeseburger.
So we just stopped off in Chama at this little restaurant. It's called Feliciano's. Absolutely excellent if you're over here. I got a cheeseburger and it was like, I can't even tell you how big it was. I couldn't even finish it, so I had to take it to go. Place is really good. So now we're headed up to get fuel back up into the pass we came down and into the Brazos Mountains. We had finally pushed 25 miles down into New Mexico, along the Brazos Ridge of the Toltec Mesa, which borders an 18,000-acre wildlife and wilderness refuge known as the Cruces Basin. The trails in the area were nearly empty. Even at the peak of elk season, the rugged washed-out roads seemed to keep even the side-by-sides away. This is my favorite part about New Mexico, seemingly endless public lands and relatively low population compared to the square mileage of the state. The National Forest Service and counties here seem to let the roads be. Keeping them less maintained discourages a lot of people from traveling the areas. Although I was enthusiastic about the lack of people, I'm surprised to see not many people out enjoying the change in the aspens and the scrub oaks. We were bound for camp along the edge of the wilderness boundary, along a gorgeous ridgeline I had my eyes on for a few months. I always try to at least have a few backup camp spots in mind when planning out these routes. You never know what roads may be closed and potential spots might be taken. The greatest part about Onyx is being able to pin a camp spot and use a 3D feature to see whether or not that spot might have a vista.
That was a good call, Dave.
What's that?
My goal with these types of trips is to never let anyone down in the convoy when finding camp spots. And if this is the only skill I ever take to my grave, I'll know I did a fine job of it. This spot was absolutely unbelievable and got even better as the sun began to set. Just when I thought the beauty couldn't get any better, around 8 in the evening, we were given another surprise that I was not anticipating. In part 2, the convoy and I pushed further south towards San Antonio Mountain and the southernmost portion of Carson National Forest. We will adventure around the area of Abiquiu before heading to Chama Canyon, where the geographical diversity takes a massive turn. After exploring Chama Canyon, we will finally end up at my favorite camp spot above the Valle Caldera. So I hope you enjoyed, and stay tuned for part 2.